Well, here I am in a little town in Nebraska. This is Lyons, Nebraska. They apparently have an annual flea market. It is way off the beaten track. I've found some good things way off the beaten track in Nebraska before, so I thought I'd give it a shot. There's a classic car show here too, but this is farm country, so you're going to see these kind of vehicles. This is one of Leroy's ancestors. This is the truck I ran around in with my parents as a kid, all over the country, 67 Ford. Ah, yes, very familiar. I would have been sitting in the middle. We had seat belts, though. Old Toyota Land Cruiser here. This is a Plymouth Prowler, a recent, 1990s sports car that is very scarce. I have an owner's manual from it, and just the owner's manual is supposed to be worth about $90. This is neat, and yeah, sometimes things take a while, 50 years to get this restored, but that's really fun that they finally did. This is a moto meter, and you will see these for sale, and they're worth money, especially if they're for a particular name. They've had this one re-chromed. You can see just a little pitting on the original part. These folks understandably have a lot of car parts and signs and doodads that are new. There's a bunch of new stuff here too. Some older enamelware. A hatchet, but the handle's not great. Army cots. I remember scrambling to get one of these when I first did the Packwood show. When I found out my van had a leak and sleeping on the floor was not a great idea. This guy has the kind of stuff that I look for. Winston-Salem. That might fit in the car because it's a smaller one. The Lone Star sign is new. These street signs, not so much. Brewery stuff. Old railroad train. Some of these funky guys. There are certain names out of the 70s. I look for funky junk out of San Diego just because it was one of the first I was aware of, and I sold that set for our family and did pretty well. This is interesting. That's 1991. I look for the 70s era. Let's see what we got on this side. Ooh, a big fur muff. This looks out of place. This might be something I could get for a deal, and it zips in the inside as a purse. I have sold these before in Portland, and that's where I'm headed. Rambler parts. More Rambler parts. Wish I'd see some Rambler cars at some of these car meets. Okay, this is pretty cool. That's so fun the way that pops out. I've got to ask about that. Interesting that this originally had a couple of different pipe heads for one stem. There we go. There's all the information. That's the tube. Oh, interesting. I've never seen this model before. That might actually be something interesting for a pipe collector. Moonstone opalescent. Some salt and pepper shakers. Well, at least there's some things to look at here, and I'm going to ask about them. Well, there is my pile. Pepsi thermometer is old enough. The cigarette display was cheap enough. I love the Buffalo salt and pepper shakers. This guy is so fun with the guy coming out of his head. And yes, I got the mink muff. Here, let's see who made the Perot clown, because this is an 80s era motif as well. And that's probably when this was done. I think that's a home project. Some basic tunes. A little bit of Pyrex. I don't see any lids. And most of this is new here. Or newer than I do. Ah, yes, the Mercedes ones. Studebaker had the exclusive rights to import them in the late 1950s. Well, I managed to somehow finesse all that stuff into the car. If I have another buy like that, I might end up having to wear stuff all the way to the Rose City Vintage Market. And that wouldn't be good because I'm still 1,700 miles away. Well, the flea market part is not very big, although there are some tractors for sale amongst this display. Tractors are big things in farm country. That's why there's all these little scale model collectibles like Erdels, which were made in this part of the country too, because a lot of people here, this is how they live. Also a whole lot of bikes. Oh, and that looks like a D-Derby car. Yes, definitely looks like a D-Derby car with lots of reinforcements, tons of bashing, a roll cage so that you don't die, and lots of metal. I have to admit, as a kid, I loved D-Derby. Looks dangerous as could be to be in there doing it. Downtown told me that the main flea market is actually out by the highway, which is not where they put it on the map. It wasn't where they put it on the map on Craigslist either, but hey, it's a little town, so it's easy to find stuff. And this old dead Phillips 66 station seems to be the place. I see 5 or 6 vendors. Let's see what they've got. I like the galvanized can, but it doesn't have a lid. Super nice. Mostly new jewelry. Aren't you cute? I presume that the guys who have these cars downtown will be here to look at these. I have one of these cardboard tables from the 40s. And, you know, it's actually a clever idea. This one's a little worn. They usually are because there's nothing to keep the cardboard from getting ripped. But you could fold these up and they were small and cute. Yankee screwdriver, a Dietz Junior lantern. This is not a railroad lantern. It's priced about right at $20. It was for home use or in a barn. Railroad lanterns are lower and stouter so they wouldn't get knocked over. Hudson wire and iron in Tulsa, everything in fencing. This is an old thing that you clipped on to a card table so that you had a place to put your drink. Kind of a neat old advertising piece. Lone Star Masonry cement, they would give those out with the product. You never know in these kind of little boxes. I always like to take a quick moment to dig. Somebody could have gone somewhere, done something, and brought it back. $10 on the crusty old fan. It might still work, but it doesn't have its directional roadside flare there. They do have a few people out here. I'm going to keep looking. Pretty old light cover for $3. There's customers for these 1970s era webbed folding chairs. This would really have to be cleaned, and I think it's a little too scuffed, but it's a great look and color if it was in better shape. Pullman stove. I mean, most of what's here is pretty much practical and used household goods, but you might find something collectible that fits that category. Old bowl here, $12. The gay fat decoration. That's on a Fire King. Looks like there's stuff inside the old station too, so. Ooh, must have shirt and shoes. And teeth. Ooh, if I had time to stay, there'd be an auction. These are siesta wear with the cowboys, and these do sell out west. But I would want to have the tray and the whole thing. There's the barbecue version. There's the Irish blessing version. There's the Washington State version in salt and pepper form. Milk bucket. The old milk cans that are priced as lots. I think I'm in the auction area. Okay, so this stuff is priced $5 a piece for Coke crates. I like the old oaken barrel. These actually sell pretty well for me. They're great as little side tables. They're good decorative. But I don't see a price on that one. Pez dispensers, but all of these have feet, and I look for the early ones that don't primarily. There's a Fenton piece, but I've already got it. I don't believe they're parting with the sign because it goes with the old station, which is too bad. I'd love to have it. That one I'd have to repack the car for, though. All right, well, I haven't found anything here yet. I can see where there's potential. This bowl is nice. Black amethyst out of the 30s, $10. And here is a little green Fenton bird. And they want, ooh, a lot for that, because they know what it is. Cued out of the 1940s or 50s. One of the Ohio Potters. Well, the last dealer figured out I'm a YouTuber and I'm going to go get him my card. I suspect that dealers hit this flea market this morning when it was open early, and that's why I'm not finding anything that I would buy. I think the guy downtown, because he's part of the local event, maybe they didn't know about him. Well, my last purchase in Lyons is this Mexican blanket, which is going to be great to take to Rose City Vintage because I've got a lot of Western and I really needed something colorful as a backdrop. And because it's starting to rain, another successful way off the highway visit to Nebraska. Really enjoy this. They have Junk Job here in September where you can drive 300 miles of small towns and shop. So maybe we'll get back for that. In the meantime, it's on to Portland for Rose City Vintage Market next weekend.